Hello everyone, I'm here to finish up my con law videos. This is my last one. It's going to be based on the takings clause, and then I'm going to do a quick overview of all my con law approach. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started. Takings clause. Takings clause of the Fifth Amendment provides that private property may not be taken for public use without just compensation. There are plenty of MBEs on this, and I've seen full essays on this. Okay, so this is important to remember, the takings clause. Remember, it's based out of the Fifth Amendment. The elements of the takings clause are public use and just compensation. Public use is liberally construed, so if it's rationally related, it's fine. To a conceivable public purpose, it's fine. It can include public benefit rather than actual public use. Okay, so it can be a public benefit, not just use. And then just compensation is measured by the market value of the property at the time of the taking. At the time of the taking, not after, not before, at the time of the taking. So public use and just compensation, your two elements. Now, is it a taking or a regulation? There's total takings and there's temporary takings. Elements for total takings are regulatory actions are total takings if there is a permanent physical invasion or confiscation of property, or a temporary taking. We usually see the temporary because there's more elements to write up. The court will consider the economic impact on the owner, the length of delay, the reasonable expectation of the owners, and the good faith of the government planners. So most of these need to be written up, okay? Now, is it a regulatory taking? Regulatory takings are such as zoning ordinances that decrease the economic value of the property by prohibiting most beneficial use are not considered takings if there is still an economically viable use of the property. So if you have a piece of property still has viable use, then they don't consider it a taking. It's going to be a regulatory taking. We're going to balance the following: character of the invasion, the economic impact on the claimant, and the extent of interference with the investment-backed expectations of the owner. I see a lot of these too because it has more elements. They want us to write up more. Basically, you have to look at your facts to see, is it a taking, a regulation, what is it? So that's it for takings. That's the approach. Now, the con law approach, JSPFLLI, I'm going to review it really, really quick with you guys. If you remember this, use a mnemonic, something like that, then you're going to be able to find the smaller issues too as soon as you jot this down. Justiciability, state action, powers of the state, federal powers, limitation on state powers, limitation on federal powers, and individual rights. First one, justiciability, usually consider a case or controversy. Is there a political question? Standing, of course, the different types of standing, organizational, individual, taxpayer. Timeliness means mootness or ripeness, and then the 11th Amendment also goes with justiciability. So when you jot down justiciability, these are the little inner issues that you have to remember, okay? State action, most important thing here, it's usually a state actor, but if not, if it's a private actor, are they really, really, really involved? Is there a lot going on there? You have to use the facts to distinguish that. If they say there's a private actor, you're usually going to have to go with your little argument there just to prove that you can use them as a state actor. So basically, 11th Amendment, state action. Traditional public functions, or is a state heavily involved? Remember that. If the state is heavily involved and they're not a private actor, you would consider them a state actor. The biggest thing on that one. Powers of the state, we go to federalism and 10th Amendment. You have to memorize that. Powers, federal powers, Congress powers, the judiciary powers, and the executive branch powers. All of those should pop up in your head as soon as you jot down federal powers. When you jot down limitations on state powers, supremacy clause should pop up, the DCC, dormant commerce clause, remember state, P&I, privilege and immunities, and contracts clause. These are limitations on the states. Limitations on federal powers, of course, the 10th Amendment. We have improper, which is the limitation on federal powers, 10th Amendment, and the improper delegation of legislative powers. And I have to say, this is very important here. I've seen this a lot on essays. I did it on my video, but you need to remember this. Improper delegation of legislative powers. If you don't know what that is, look it up on my videos. It's there for the con law videos. It'll give you a good idea of how to do that. But I've seen them on essays a lot. Individual rights. Individual rights involve freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of association, due process clause, SDP, PDP, involuntary servitude, the 13th Amendment, the EPC, the equal protection clause, and the takings clause. And this video includes the takings clause. I've made an EPC video. I've done all of these in video, so if you guys want to look those up. That's pretty much my approach. Go look on the bar exam. My con law is done. I've done real property, and I've done con law. And that's just how I study. So I kind of listen to these videos all the time, over and over and over again. And I do my MBEs and my essays based on them. So go look on the bar exam, and I'll see you guys on my next video, which I think I'm going to do civil procedure next. Civil procedure.